Once again, once again, me not remembering to like make sure my audio is good before I start recording. At least this time I noticed it 2 minutes in. Um, but it is 7/17/2025. Um, I was gonna like do other stuff this afternoon and post more videos, like edit something that I recorded like 2 or 3 days ago, and or like record something and that I have to do minimal editing for. No, no, no. I don't want to do that. I want to get off work. Well, I technically am off work. This is what I was thinking about earlier. I said, see about this earlier. I was like, I'm gonna get off work. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna make my ramen noodles, and then I'm gonna lay on my couch and watch bad YouTube videos till I fall asleep. That's all I want to do. My head also hurts, so that's like part of it. But my head's been hurting for the last like 3 days, so it's the migraines are my usual, so I don't know why I complain about them because my migraines are the usual. So there's no like you know what I mean? It's like okay, you're whining because the sky is blue and the grass is green, essentially. In the background is something I spent like 45 minutes on, and well, I got to the coloring stage and I said, wow, I really should have just done this traditionally. So that's probably what's going to be in my diary entry tomorrow is going to be me doing traditional line art and coloring it with my markers. The only reason I did it digitally is because I looked at the sketch and I said, wow, this is so cute. I don't want to have to get my microns and my alcohol markers out. Mm, I don't want to do that. Um, because right now, I'm pretty sure they're in my closet because I haven't touched my alcohol markers in months because I've been doing digital stuff only. Which sucks because I call myself mainly a traditional artist. I mean, I do all my sketches traditionally. I do all my sketches traditionally. So that's that. I don't know, man. I'm just tired, okay? So you're gonna get to this end of this video and you're gonna be like, yeah, technically it's colored. You're gonna be like, well, yeah, technically it is colored. But I don't finish it after that. I don't finish after that. Okay? I gave up. I gave up on it. What is this? Oh, that's not the recording that I'm looking for. Sorry, I'm putting it into CapCut right now so that I can just slap my VTuber on top and call it a day. Um, can you tell I'm incredibly tired? Yeah, okay. Delete right. And something that I was gonna talk about. What was I gonna talk about? Oh, I guess I can talk about the character that's in the background. He's from another series, not series, another one of my stories that I used to tell myself to help me fall asleep, but then it like kind of spiraled into me actually doing stuff with it, and I make a lot of art for it. Uh, Called Children from the Grave. The lore is a mildly complicated because it's my story, so anytime I have a story that lore. Essentially, sum it up, there's this weird ass town in the middle of fucking nowhere worth I'm thinking like 1800s. Okay. See 1800s, roughly late 1800s probably. Well, no, maybe like no 1800s. Yeah, late 1800s, early 1900s. Anyways, trains exist. That's all I know. That's all I know. There are trains. Okay, that's all I got. Like that. I don't know. I don't know the time setting either way. But there's this weird ass town, and so hundreds of years ago in the past, there was this plague, and it killed a lot of the children in the town. And it's eventually started this tradition where the townspeople, anytime, anyone has a child die, and this is, bad medical practices, good medicine didn't start until very recently. Very recently. We had a lot of dying children, not to mention like vaccines and stuff. Either way. So it started this tradition in this town where when like a child dies to like help the grieving process, you make like an effigy. And like originally they were just like really simple. Um, And then as time went on and the town got more prosperous, it became this whole like status symbol that, or like, or not even a status symbol, just be like, I love my child so much. You know what I mean? When they died, I spent so much money. Would you get the fuck down, Fred? I swear to God. Fred, go. I mean, literally making eye contact with me out of my peripheral and knocking shit off my dresser. I can't make this shit up. I have no freedom from that. I'm sorry if it didn't my headset for the headphones for the most part cut out any like loud noises, but I don't know if it cut out me clapping at him. That's how they're trained. They respond to snaps and claps, okay? Yep, it's the only way that works. Loud noises. Um, Anyways, it was a thing in the town that they would essentially make effigies, and then, they originally started out really crude, but then they started getting more elaborate and more complex and more detailed and more realistic. Um, you know, to the point where like it was a little creepy. I'm telling you, for in the lore, this town is full of weirdos, essentially. So this has been going on for like several hundreds of years, and there's this massive cemetery now, and it's actually this big kind of not like a small city, I'd say. Anyways, but now there's this cemetery, and within the last like 20 to 15 years, the effigies of the dead children have started coming alive and crawling out of their graves, crawling out of tombs. Some of them, in the case of a couple of the characters, were like just like kind of like how people have stone angels on top of like really big gravestones or whatever, or they'll just have them in cemeteries and shit. Some of the children were made out of stone, and so they weren't buried, so they just kind of woke up. Anyways, so that's weird as fuck. Anyways, so it's this whole like they're not the children who died. They're not the children who died. Sometimes they'll have a couple memories of the child or, whatever. But they're like, well, I'm just gonna take on the name of this dead kid, I guess, because I look like them. And so a bunch of characters made out of different things. One of them's made out of like wood. Some are made out of like fabric. One's like porcelain, stone. Our main character, Adam, is made out of wax. He's a wax figure that's come to life. Horrifying. Horrifying. And it's just a bunch of ages from like 3-ish to like 16 or 17. Anyways, the townspeople are not cool with this, but they're kind of like, that's some bad voodoo. But it's essentially, uh, they're not bad. They're children. They're children. Um, they're not like horror movie monsters and they're going around murdering people. No, no, no. No, no, they're just like normal children that just happen to not be human beings. Um, and the town's like, we're not gonna kill you if you don't leave the cemetery. And they end up hiring a gravekeeper, cemetery graveyard keeper or whatever, to keep track of the children. And there's more that happens to the story, but I don't feel like explaining the whole story to you. Like it has a ending, middle, and beginning. Okay, I was working on this one for a while. Um, Either way, our main character is Adam. He's the one made out of wax. Louis here is porcelain. Um, he's a little porcelain doll. Most of them are actual children size. Okay, they're all. It's not like he's like a tiny little porcelain doll. No, these psychopaths in the town were like, I need a life-size doll of my child to bury in a grave. Okay, so you could because I was thinking like really weird small town that has like really weird traditions, and then it like became increasingly creepy because the fact that the love and care and attention and artistry put into this these dolls, effigies, whatever you want to call them, made them come to life. Anyways, Louis is a horrible little boy. He's he's a bully. I know that he looks so cute, and I'm sorry. He's such a sweet little baby. Um, he's such a sweet baby. He's not a sweet baby at all. So the children are essentially uh, they do a lot of I think Lord of the Flies, where you leave a bunch of children unattended somewhere and crazy things happen, and there's just like one adult for 30 children, like a kid's classroom. Yeah, checks out. Anyways, so the children have this thing where they're like, if you don't crawl out of your grave by yourself, you're weak. You're weak. You're boring. Oh, I crawled out of my grave by myself. I broke out of my crypt by myself. Oh, you had the gravekeeper help dig you out? You had Johnny, who's another one of the children. He's made out of wood, but he acts as an assistant to the gravekeeper. He's like, "Oh, you had Johnny help dig you out of your grave? Pussy behavior. You're a crybaby." Anyways, because of that, there's like a thing where even if they hear noises in a grave, they will just purposely ignore it. Or some of them will be nice enough to be like, "Well, he can't get out. I'm gonna go get help." Some of them will just be like, "Figure it out yourself." Um, Louis ignores. Louis is an ignorer, so he hears Adam crying in his grave, unable to get out, and he's Adam's grave neighbor. They have graves incredibly close to each other. And he's just like, yeah, yeah, I'm not helping you, and walks away. He's he's not a good. He's also just routinely bullying other children. He's not a good little guy. He's a cute little guy. He's not a good little guy. Um, there's a bunch of other lore that I've like glanced over. Like most of the children don't believe they're not human until after a while. And this is taken from some mythology. I don't remember what it is, but if the children see their reflection within the first month of waking up, they go back to sleep, as the children call it, as the I have a name for them. I gave them a name because it was getting really annoying to just say the children that crawled out of their grave. I just don't remember what it is. I'd have to pull up my notes, and I'm not doing that. Okay? I'm not doing that. Um, but it's was it's just it's good vibes, good vibes. Adam's the main character, and he is the epitome of what they have a term for when you don't dig yourself out of your grave, or if you die, or if you go back to sleep, because this does happen. Some of the children were like, "Oh, I'm just gonna cease to exist," and they went back to sleep. Um, they call it weak soiled, something I don't remember what it is, something like that, something along those lines. Don't ask me to remember my own lore. That's difficult. Okay, that's difficult. Um, Adam is the main character and the definition of that, and also his personality is crybaby, weak-willed, doesn't can't handle anything, emotionally distressed 24/7. In his defense, he looks the most like an actual human child because he's a very good wax figure. Um, the only thing I said about his appearance that's like slightly different is that his hair color has faded and his like the wax has kind of gotten a little bit old and discolored. But otherwise, he passes for a weird looking child, but a child. That's why Louis has pink hair, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. He has pink hair because I decided whatever color it was naturally faded over time. Whatever like fiber or pigment that was used degraded, and now he has pink hair instead of whatever it was naturally when he was made. Because most of the other children have natural hair colors because actual, they're they're based on actual children. This is such a weird story. I don't have any explanation for myself. I don't like me talking about Lel yesterday and then Kane like 2 or 3 days ago. Can you tell that I'm mentally unwell? And every time I write a story, it has to be weird. It has to be weird. Anyways, that wraps up today. Have a good rest of your day. Please leave me alone. I'm sorry if I traumatized you today. I'm sorry.